It'd be silly if we started suddenly writing like the Eagles, because they do it better. But we do Deep Purple better than the Eagles.
And David singing like Joni Mitchell is silly. You do what you're good at.
Yeah, we have limitations which you accept.
What comes out is a conglomeration of 5 people's ideas and the way they play. You are what the audience make you. It's no good saying. It's no good saying you're a serious musician and going, everybody starts laughing at you. You know.
You're right. Exactly.
You know, if you do what you do to the best of your ability, then the audience puts you into a category. You don't. They make you. They say, well, these are now a heavy rock band. This is a nice folk band. You don't say that. You know, you're too inside it. You can't say anything.
You have a reputation for being the loudest band in the world. Are you happy with this?
No.
You're not happy with it?
It's wrong. There's so many other bands that play loud all the time, whereas we use a lot of light and shade in the music. When it's quiet, it's quiet. When it's loud. There's various other bands I could mention that just continue to play loud all the time.
Ian Campbell folk group.
Well, they're loud.
We're just the loudest one they ever measured. That's all.
Yeah, really. I mean, you know, they never measured anybody else to that extent. And
nothing to be proud of.
It's nothing to do with aggression. You want to present an aggressive image.
Oh, well, we certainly would like to be. We like to think of ourselves as a vaguely aggressive band. I mean, we're not that interested in being anything else.
In terms of fighting and seat smashing and.
No, that's gratuitous.
Aggressive.
That's gratuitous.
Shame.
I mean, and that doesn't come from the band. The band doesn't actually encourage that. It might invoke it.
Occasionally you smash equipment, I understand.
Well, I'm smashing the wife. Seriously, I mean, if I feel that, you know, I want to get me yah-yahs out. No, it's a great way of doing it.
Sometimes when you do a show and that doesn't happen, then you leave the people with a load of built-in tensions which haven't been released because they've been taken up and nothing's quite burst them. And if somebody just goes ahead and gets completely destructive, then that's it. Somebody's broken the bag for them and it all goes away.
In fact, we did one gig in the States. We started Mistreated, which is a track on Burn, and he just couldn't get the sound he wanted, you know, from it. It was a new instrument, so he just smashed it to pieces.
He broke 3 guitars in one gig in Washington on this last tour in the States. I couldn't believe it. I just wept.
The whole essence, though, of going to a rock concert is for the release of it, the emotional release. You know?
Yeah, it's like, I mean, if you take any rock concert, right, at the beginning of the evening, it's a potentially it's a potentially violent situation, if you think about it. There's 2, 3, 4, 10, 12, 20,000 people, whatever the size of the venue is, who are all like, you know,
Why are they like that?
because they're excited about what they're going to see, because presumably, well, particularly in a smaller venue, let us say, most of the people there are there because they are fans of yours.
So it's cathartic, is this violence? They're not going to imitate it.
I wasn't going to use the word catharsis because I hate intellectualising on that level. I don't think it's quite... no, nothing against the way you put it, but I think it's a very simple situation of...
A lot of very excited people all together.
We need to be entertained and released and sent home happy.
The release you can get is like the physical release, which I think is what we promote. Physical release. I'll put it there. All right. An acoustic thing is purely a nice evening, you know, and like happy feelings and things like that. There is a certain aggression.
You can draw parallels in other kinds of entertainment or art. I mean, you get a very different feeling from looking at one of those Renaissance paintings of Madonna with child than you do from looking at what's his name, Francis Bacon or something, you know, with the screaming Pope or something, that great sort of screaming face. That's a tense picture, right? Whereas, or the Mona Lisa, let's say, you know, is a very serene picture. So I mean, contrast has to exist in all forms of entertainment or art or whatever you care to call it.
You're the Francis Bacon band.
Much more than, much more than the Leonardo da Vinci.
Good night, God bless you all.
No, it turns me on that. It's the thing. I love it. Right.
I turned around, I saw Richie throw his guitar up and you kick your drums to pieces, and I thought, I can't sacrifice a mic. And I thought, I'll kick the monitors off. You know? And I thought, can I afford it? I'll go off. I threw a ring on the floor and jumped on it. You know?
Crushed your grave.
I just put my beer down. I put my beer down and it's gone.
Sure. Do you want a cigarette, Johnny?
We got the impression out there that you enjoyed that one.
I had a good time, yes. I could have done with another hour.
You could have danced all night, Bill. Drum roll.
Too busy talking.
Yeah. One of my sons here, there.
Hello. Give me a drum roll. Give me a drum roll. All I need is a drum roll.
Jay.
Give me a sorry. Didn't say a word. Did not.
Carmen! It's Carmen Hughes.
See, I have my own dressing room because I like to tune up and I like my solitude before I go on stage. I tend not to get too involved in people because, to be quite honest, I find a lot of people are boring. I find myself boring most of the time. I don't like to be caught up. I always like to be the opposite. I always was at school. That's why I don't smoke. I used to find everybody at school smoking, you know. Oh, it's a big deal, man. Smoke, you know, rebellious image. Like, I thought, well, because of that, I won't smoke, and I never have, you know. Maybe if they hadn't smoked, I would have done, you know. Mind you, I was probably doing other things which were just as bad, if not worse. I'm still very moody, shy, and very honest, which a lot of people can't take, you know. Honest? Yeah. And which is the hardest thing in this business is to is sincerity. Once you can fake that, you're laughing, you know. We're not brilliant songwriters, you know. I write most of the stuff, but I think some of it stinks, you know. We only get away with it because we're so good musically, you know. In fact, I wish some people would come forward and write songs for us, because we need it. But there are times when I feel like just saying, oh, let's forget it, you know, let's all go home, and we've all got enough money to just say, well, I'll do another LP when I feel like doing it. Because really, that's what every group should do. But every group is pressured by the record company. It's only guarding their own interests. A group only lasts a certain length of time, so they get the most out of them. It doesn't matter whether they fold up in 5 years, as long as they've made about 10 LPs in the meantime. Whereas in actual fact, to get the best out of a group, you've got to give them a year for each LP, I would think, for an actual progression without forcing it. And that really bugs me, actually, going to the studio. Right, we're going to turn out an LP, boys, you know, here we go, blah, blah, blah. I've got to write a song today, you know. It's just ridiculous, you know. Yeah. And I don't know if I've got the guts to do it, but I've often thought, that's it. I'd like to leave, not the band, I just want to get out of the business, play when I feel like playing, and do a record when I feel like recording. It would be fantastic, but you can't have it all your own way, you know.
In terms of like longevity, this job comes last. It comes last. You're given probably anywhere between 2 and 10 years, I would say, at the maximum, right, to make your.
You've had 6.
We've had 6, yeah. But out of the 6, I would say 3 have been financially excellent. The other 3 were
getting out of debt.
Getting out of debt. Yeah, exactly. The debt that it cost to start this band. We started this band with one main idea and ideal, and that was that everything we did would be, by our lights, excellent. I think you know, the justification for what you do always comes from the amount of success what you do has, providing we keep ourselves together and we believe in what we do. We've never been great lyricists, and we don't write sort of fantastic melodies and tunes, you know, except for Child in Time, which is quite a pretty tune. I mean, there's not that many pretty tunes.
Is that something you regret?
No, not particularly. Yeah, I regret it to the extent that if we could find a really great melody that would fit in with the way we play and the way we want to play, then fair enough. You'd use it, you know, like a shop. But we're more of a... we don't construct our songs like, say, Rodgers and Hart used to, you know, or Lennon and McCartney, even. They're sort of amalgams of what everyone is able to...
From a certain basic idea.
Ian might come up with a sort of a drum rhythm. Well, he came up with a drum pattern... You Fall No One, it's opening track on side 2 of Burn. Came purely and simply, initially, from a drum rhythm that Ian thought up.
Whereby Might Just Take Your Life came from an organ chord sequence that John had. So you start with the basic, simple little idea, then you get 5 minds saying, well, I think this would fit with that. That's what we do.
You know, but
that's maybe why they're not too melodic, they're not too lyrical.
We're a rock band. I mean, I don't like the term hard rock. I don't like the term heavy metal. You know, I'd like to think of ourselves as a rock and roll band. Burn, Machine Head, in rock seem to centre around a specific kind of theme. Not even a theme you can put into words. Yes, but they hang together. You know it's part of that album, and it feels part of that album. And you can play the album from A to Z. Without thinking, oh, that sticks out like a sore thumb.
You see a progression in your album career?
It's sort of gone like that, you know, to us. We've gone up and then taken 1 step back, then 3 steps, then 1 back, you know, in terms of the albums.